Hello everyone, this is Jasmine, aka Gladiator in Sweats, and I'm here with the weekly tarot forecast for the week of June 24th through to June 30th. So we're finishing out the very last week of June now. So this is my usual Pinnacle spread. Just ahead of time, disclaimer for any noises or sounds in the back. It's just my family and my kids. Typical Sunday. So we're just gonna get through this. So again, as I was saying, this is just my usual Pinnacle spread where we'll go over where we are, what it is that we're spiritually seeking, and the hidden as well as the unhidden factors that bring about the energies, or not just really bring about the energies, but the factors that are in play this week, as well as the outcome, or just what comes out of this week that leads us into the next week. So in the context of this spread, you can even look at this as just rounding up the end of June. So there are a lot of energetic shifts as far as like the planets making shifts into different energies this week. So I guess I'll just mention just a few of those. I won't go into them in great detail, mostly because, as you guys know, I do full moon readings for that anyway. So I'll go into more detail about the full moon then. But we also have Mars going retrograde on Tuesday, so that is actually going to be very pivotal. I'm not entirely sure if I'll do a separate video, but I might just do like an oracle reading for that. And we have Mercury entering Leo as well on Thursday. So besides like a bunch of other as far as like transits going on, just from that alone, there's a lot of moving from watery energies into more fiery energies. Not just because Mercury's moving out of Cancer into Leo, but we also have the moon moving from Scorpio into Aquarius by the end of the week. So we're moving from Scorpio into Sagittarius through Capricorn, into Aquarius. So we're definitely moving. We're still going to be feeling these very emotional kinds of energies still, but it's moving to more fiery. There's a lot more, I feel, fiery energies coming into this mix. So there's really just a big, I just see it kind of like a pot of just a big just storm, if you want to call it, but I don't even want to call it a storm. It's just a very energetic, it's just very intense energetic dance going on. So the first things I also did want to mention was that it feels as if or seems like there's a clearing of our emotional bodies, then we're moving into like a further cleansing of our mental bodies. Both of these feeling like they're cleansed, as I keep mentioning, of the water being this purification, this cleansing, this like baptism kind of process, and the fire coming through another form of rebirth, like Phoenix rising, as I mentioned about like the Sacred Heart activations, and all of that intense fiery Leo energy. And with Venus, Venus definitely being represented here, and all of this playing this part into us really coming into further understanding of ourselves and why we're here, and our truest of true identities. So I guess see, is there anything else I wanted to, what, I might as well just read the rest of my transit notes. I guess, but from now on, maybe I should just start showing my face. So I'll work on doing that in the next video. So Sunday, I feel like we're rounding off the end of this most previous week, as well as starting this new week. We're rounding off the end of this grand water trine that we've had, and it's ending with fated and I feel synchronized events that further trigger mental and emotional expansion and further understanding of ourselves. But that comes through purging, comes through releasing old beliefs and old boxes, if you want to call it, old identities that we clung to and held on to. And so we're working on a new found, stable our new foundation of mental and emotional security. So through to Monday, I feel we'll feel more inspired as we do come into more of this fire energy as the moon moves into Sagittarius. And Tuesday we do have Mars retrograde, but just Monday there's this as we are moving into that Sagittarian energy, it feels like what has been purged starting to be transmuted even further, finding enlightenment about ourselves, even more about our desires and our drives behind our behaviors, behind our habits. Just overall feels like a week of purging and preparation for what's to come, of further learning of who we truly are. So, through a lot of triggers. So I feel like it's just irritating is an understatement, whenever it comes to this kind of work, I feel. But it's, these things, if we can look at it from a place of not just understanding, but of really surrendering to the dance, really surrendering to love showing us, to the universe, being like, all right, you got to let me be the teacher. Or not just the teacher, but really you got to let me show you now. That's kind of what I feel with Mars retrograde, almost like the ego turning off and handing the wheel to spirit and being like, all right, I will follow your lead this time, or not even this time, but like I will follow your lead, for this moment, and this will be for about 2 months. So I feel like it pretty much through the rest of the summertime. All of this summertime has really felt just very spiritual, just very transformational as we headed into June. But as we, enter July, I feel like it's definitely like go time with Cancer, a holy just purification of who we are, just the integration just coming fuller and more righteous. I have a lack of words of what I can really describe how the way I'm interpreting these transits. Through by Wednesday, I feel that it'll be clear, what needs to be done to clear karmic cycles and lessons, and we'll actually begin, those transformational moves and processes of ridding those structures. I feel like Mars retrograde is also when I feel like the shattering of old structures and old system, old ways of interacting and old ways of doing things. Even the way that we manage our time and even the way that we view time as a concept, I feel like all of that is really just changing. All of it is not just changing, but the falsities of things start to come to the surface, not as a means for us to be outraged, which even if you are outraged about things that you start to see like, wow, that's not really how it really was. I feel it's all just being shown to you now, because before you were not in a place, or not even just you, we were not in a place to be able to handle the knowledge and be able to handle the truth. There really is a reason, for the light and dark, why certain things need to be kept in the dark or done more behind the scenes. But that's like a little side tangent. As we move into the weekend with Friday and Saturday, I feel like it's just further integration, harmony of our emotional, and mental bodies. Just not just that, but with our physical. It's just the Trinity, I feel, just coming together, just more reaching like solidification. And then I feel by Saturday it's there's galactic assistance and guidance that help us to just further this process along. And that's really what I wrote down. As far as the notes, I'm trying to keep it a little bit short and simple and not getting too crazy with trying to over-explain the transits. But I hope that resonated and made a little bit of sense as we get into the cards. So I feel like the cards are actually representative overall of a rebirth of our truth. That's ultimately the feeling that is reached here with this Judgment card and Ace of Swords in reverse, of not just inner calling or Judgment Day or whatever stigma that the Judgment card comes with, but this has been coming up a lot lately. This is seen a lot to me as like the Pluto card, as not just the Pluto card, but as like yeah, you know what? I'm gonna just go with that. Yeah, it is this Pluto card. It is plutonic. It is transformational. It is when there's like a catalyst needed to, oh my, needed to conduct the transformation, if you will. Yeah, that's yeah, that makes sense. And underneath the Judgment card, we do have Temperance. So, as I've been mentioning, this alchemic process of even the way you can kind of see the two cups, I imagine like the cups being poured back and forth until there's a reach of balance, until there's a reach of like a 0 point. Even if like you think of waves, again, like there's this back and forth, this ebb and flow until things finally reach a stillness or a petering out. So I feel like this is definitely speaking about us with Neptune retrograde, with Mars, going retrograde as well. I feel like it's making things very, very tangible, very still, like to where just every move, everything is very important and precise as far as to like how it really affects us in a very long term. I just feel like it affects us in ways that we're not even aware of now. It affects us past, present, and future. With this Ace of Pentacles, with the Emperor in reverse supporting it, I see this as us not necessarily being just given a coin. I'm seeing this as, especially with the Emperor in reverse, as really the way for us to reach this Garden of Delights, as I mentioned last week in the last week's reading. I feel like in order to reach that, the ego has to be smaller, or the ego has to not be so in control or be so in regulation of how things are going. I'm also just seeing this as, I think I mentioned to someone yesterday, a client I was giving a reading to, of us really, the meaning of Jesus taking the wheel. I'm really seeing it as spirit kind of taking control, not really control of us. It's not like a possessive kind of thing or a possession kind of thing where it's like we are not in any kind of control, or that we are doing anything against our will. Like, that's not how I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it as like we're having to give our will to, not give our will to spirit, but we have to be able to surrender. The art of surrendering. And not surrendering defeat. Like, there's a lot of things that come up when we think of surrendering. And it's not even about saying, I don't win. It's not about a right or wrong, or someone being above or below someone. It's even it, and I feel like that comes up even in partnerships, this idea that someone has to be right or wrong, or someone has to be like the pants in the relationship, and someone has to be seen as the sidekick, or the person behind the person. Like, there is no person behind the person. Even like, this is kind of a side note, but just like even all the little the cliches that we have about behind every strong man or woman, there's this, and it's like, I get it. Like, I understand the intention, but I feel like the visual that is created is a little, not just inaccurate, but not even just that, because that's just one example. I just feel overall, the way that we view relationships, the way that we view power dynamics and relationships, all of that is coming to the surface for a lot of us. And I think we really need to be, not even need to be, I feel like we're being asked to really look, like, not do. Like, as I was saying before, of being like, let me show you. Like, that's the way I'm seeing even here, the Pentacles is of the the physical realm. So I almost feel like, let them show you. Let them show you what the picture. Let them show you what's going on. And in order to do that, you kind of have to be willing to be like, all right, maybe I don't know. I would like to know, so show me. And so I'm also just kind of seeing that here as what we're really looking to do is to be able, or not even be able to, but I see this as, again, with the Nine of Wands, that being like the edge of the climax, of not just the climax, but I see it almost as like the edge before you get to a new, like, I don't know why in my mind I'm seeing it as like new dimension, the way that even they're climbing up the ladder here. Let me make sure it's in the photo. There we go. The way that they're climbing up this ladder, the way they're climbing up towards this light, through all of this fire. And the way I'm seeing this is, with this in reverse, I'm seeing this as with Neptune retrograde. Like, I'm just seeing this as us being in the divine womb. I'm just seeing us as I have been mentioning this whole concept of rebirth. I just feel a lot of imagery of rebirth, of a seed. Even my daily reading today, as of Sunday, of nurturing and protecting the seed, of really, like, the way that a mother does, or even the way that the sun, warms a seed to give it the nutrients, to give it that kind of love. But moving on to the hidden factors and the unhidden factors. So here in the hidden, we have the Queen of Swords with the Ace of Swords. So obviously very, airy kind of energy, but the higher higher frequency, or just the higher octave of Mercury is seen to be Neptune. And so I'm seeing this as, even with the Queen of Swords, the way that there's like this crack, I see it almost as like a, it could be like a crack in the dimension. That's kind of the way I'm seeing it, the way that, like, she sees the glitches. Like, she sees the glitches. She sees where things are not as they appear. And especially with that Ace of Swords there, I'm feeling like that's what this is of us. Like, we're, as you, stand still, as you aren't so active, you take more of a passive approach. This Emperor in reverse comes back up again. So both of these in reverse, I feel like that's definitely acknowledging Mars retrograde. I think that's acknowledging, like, this feeling of, like, like this turn off switch of, or even just like if you're doing like a road trip, and there's two of you there, that you and your partner or whatever, one of you is driving, one of you is resting up. That's the way I'm seeing it. Like, all right, you're at a pit stop now, and you're getting ready to switch, drivers, so that this next person can go through, give this side a rest. So maybe that's even this feeling that's coming through. And so you can also kind of see that here with this Hermit card. Even as I mentioned, like, this feeling of road trip, like, I see this as, yeah, we're kind of going on a mental road trip. We're being taken somewhere else. I do want to mention, as always, I will be concluding with an oracle card, and I love the oracle card for this. I think it's beautiful, a beautiful way to wrap this up. Let me make sure what my time is at. All right, I'm at 20, so I think I'm doing all right. Moving into our outcome here, with the Moon in reverse and this Four of Swords, which I feel, again, is reminiscent of the Hermit card energy. And not just the Hermit card energy but of this womb, this divine womb that I was mentioning in the Queen of Pentacles here. Like, I relate this very, moon. I mean, even the moon is relative to the mother, to the divine, to the feminine, relative to, even, cycles, the lunar cycles, menstrual cycles, all of those types of things. The cycles of birth. And so I am seeing this, especially with it being Cancer season now too. You can even see that as Cancer season, as we move into July, with this being the outcome position, of it really being a meditative time of being still. This Four of Swords is of mental rest, of meditation. Like I said, it's reminding me of this Hermit card energy, of this not even isolation in a in a martyr like way, in a way where you're like, oh, I'm not of these people, or maybe for some people that is the way it's kind of having to happen for them, where that's the trigger, where they're feeling triggered out of their situations, where they no longer vibrate with their current situation or their current associates and things of that nature. So I don't want to say like that kind of reaction is wrong. It's valid. It's understandable. We all go through that point of feeling isolated and alone, and feeling like we're the only ones going through it, or feeling like no one would understand us, or that, just all of those thoughts, all of these very, they're just these, these non-truths. I just would call them lies, but I don't know. Something about the word lies doesn't feel right here. I just feel like it's just not the truth. And so just things like that. I feel like we're really having to wrestle with all of those kinds of fears and those kinds of doubts. We're really having to deal with this with love and fear, and realizing, how really fear is this absence of love, or feeling disconnected to love, or feeling disconnected to source and to power and to abundance. Even that feminine energy, that Empress energy, is related to, the abundance. And as I have mentioned in the previous, as it has come up, us feeling dependent upon others, and in all sorts of ways, whether it's within our own interpersonal relationships, or even with more bigger collectives. It's just, all of it is this dance. All of it is this, especially in this time, all of it is this dance to really show us further truth, to help us further see the lies from the truths. So our oracle card here today is the Whirling Goddess. Ooh, there we go. I like the 30 there, the 30 for the numerology. I'm seeing it. Bottom of the deck was, for the oracle card, it was 1. The card is literally the 1. And so I'm seeing this as the way that it's 3 going to 0. I'm seeing it again, as I've mentioned, how there's this the mind, body, spirit, how all faculties of us are coming to this 0 point. So let me go ahead and bring it out to read, and we will close this out. All right. Make sure I hope you guys aren't catching my nose in the camera. I keep trying to check to make sure my camera is work, or my angles are right. So, all right. Whirling Goddess. Lose your head. Not a single thread that has a head can go through the eye of the needle. And that's the poem by Rumi. Come, my love. Are you dizzy yet? If you can still find your feet, then that is okay with me. But if you can still find your head, then I will take issue. There is a great dance, but it cannot be danced with choreographed steps. No, this great dance demands a response rather than an initiation, a reaction rather than a direction. So let us dissemble and lose our heads to the great music, the rhythm held steady in our beating hearts. Our feet shall be moving whilst our minds, inadequate to the task, take the night off. There is somewhere you are meant to be. It is here, now, in this moment. There is a gift right under your nose and fragrant wine in your glass, gleaming red as the most precious rubies. To be here, now, you must pass through the keyhole. But your head will tell you this is not possible unless the door is unlocked. Even though your body is passing through the keyhole of that locked door into the endless world beyond. Leave your mind to be in its struggles for a moment. Without you laying witness to it, your mind will become like the dog howling for its master's return, even as he steps out the front door. Frustrated temporarily, he will chew on some shoes, then fall asleep peacefully until his master returns. So leave your mind trusting, chewing a little, until you are truly through the keyhole when it can rest. Leave it be. Instead, come dance with me. This oracle brings you a message. You are at the point of growth where your mind can hold you back rather than urge you forward. If you have, like so many, used your mind to support you, to shore up your sense of self in the world, and to gain a sense of certainty about how the world works, then this is no easy leap. It will seem as though you are being asked to pass through the keyhole. Of course, your mind will stop and argue for all the reasons why the door should be opened instead of remaining closed, making the task seem so much harder than it needs to be. But this is the mind of resistance. Don't place too much stock in the claims that life should be other than it is. You are being asked to dance rather than understand, to lay the thoughts to rest and to come alive. It is the bravest, most trusting soul that dares put the mind to one side and say, "Tonight we dance, my heart and I, in the great rousing music of the beloved's beating heart, and I will not miss one step." And to awaken the next day and do that all over again and again and again. You are ready, you see, sweet soul dancer. You are ready to live beyond what you know, to have it not matter if you don't understand how life can work itself out, or how it could be that someone so normal and ordinary as you and I could also be so magnificent, wild, and divine. The need for answers and plans, assurances and explanations is passing out of your world now. You are not to wait for permission, for explanation, or even for another dance partner, for I am already inviting you on the great dance floor. You are to let go of any stigma around not knowing. When someone asks you what you are going to do next, or how you are going to manage, you are given this divine mandate. With relish, reveal the truth. I do not know. Know nothing and dance, sweet soul, for all will unveil itself to you in perfect harmony and timing. Your heart shall create the steps in response to the music of the spheres, happening now, alive and spontaneous and free. This oracle brings you a special message. If there is an issue, apparently unsolvable or unknowable, in your life now, the divine is handling it. The divine is in the middle of it, working through the knot and unraveling it. Fear not, do the sacred ritual, and give yourself permission to take the night off from worry. Repeat this heavenly prescription daily as needed. So let me make sure I'm checking my time. Oh, yep, I'm getting close to the end. So let me go ahead and do this sacred honoring ritual and we'll close this out. So say aloud, I give my heart permission to lead this dance. I give my mind some time off. No more worry or doubt, planning or resisting. Instead, I surrender. Instead, I open. Instead, I allow, and all unfolds with perfection, divine timing, and the miracle of grace. With Rumi as my sole witness, so be it. You have completed your honoring ritual, and we have completed this week's energy reading. So, I want to thank you all so much for watching, for your attention. I also want to thank all of the new subscribers, new and returning. I'm appreciative of the likes and all the comments, and I feel the love, and I hope that you feel my love in return. I believe that's really it that I needed to say. Just checking my time. Check the description box below. Doing much better at keeping the info up to date there. So you can check out the new moon and Gemini reading. We'll be doing the full moon reading by midweek. It should be up by the full moon. I'm working on Still working on trying to put the summer solstice video out. I just need a laptop so I can upload it. Otherwise, I've got a bunch of other videos that I have coming through, so just stay tuned. Otherwise, I hope you guys all have an amazing week. Take it easy on yourself, rest up, drink tons of water, just take care of yourself. This week is not a week, or even just this time, it's not about pushing, it's not about grinding out. Like, take some time to relax and go with the flow, and go with the dance that, spirit that the eternal lover wants to show you. So, just want to make sure, I got a little bit of time, just want to make sure I get everything I wanted to say in there. Yeah, I believe that's really it. Yes. So, I do want to say, check out Instagram. I'm going to upload the sacred honoring ritual there so that you can listen to it, just the ritual part if you would like to, or in case you wanted to go and see it written down, so you could recite it to yourself or whatever you'd like to do. And yeah, I really think that's officially it now. So again, I thank you guys so much. I am so appreciative of all the support and the love, and I'm just honored. So with all that said, have a wonderful week, and until next time, bye.